Hello and welcome to Women Series. Here we capture developments and stories that impact women. This is a special edition that focuses on women and technology. And very shortly, I will be speaking with Gloria Njiu from Tanzania. And the topic for today is women, technology, and Africa's transformation. I mean, you've heard of the saying that the future is tech, but interestingly, the future is now. I mean, we've seen different things coming up in the space for technology, different innovations, different developments. And of course, it all boils down to saying that the future is now. But the question is, how do we drive gender equality in the space? My guest today is Gloria Njiu, the head of digital business NCBA Bank from Tanzania. Hello, Gloria. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to be speaking with you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I'm thrilled for the session.
And how is Tanzania?
Tanzania is great. Like I said, it's a great time of the year. We're having great weather, and we just started our new financial year. So there's quite a lot going on, implementation, unlocking the economy, managing the COVID-19 pandemic vaccination program. So there's quite a lot in the market.
That's very interesting. I mean, we're seeing different developments and innovations coming up in this space, all thanks to COVID-19 and swift response to people trying to adapt to the new normal. Now, let's quickly go straight into the conversation for today. How will you assess gender participation in technology in Africa, even with the increased advocacy for women in tech across the region?
So I think gender participation in technology in Africa is still quite very low for the females, and it still just kind of saddens me that the problem is not just Africa specific, even despite its challenges to a lot of barriers like technology and infrastructure and accessibility. So I just checked the 2018 PwC report reporting that only 18% of tech jobs in top 10 giants in the world are held by women. And not just that, less than 20% of the leaders in the giant tech companies as well are women. And looking at the sub-Saharan continent, it is struggling with a lot of barriers to technology itself, and even going to the gender balance in access and participating in the sector, it's still very, very far behind. So for Tanzania example, I was very much intrigued to see that women are taking 25% of technology sector jobs as an actor in the market, showing that there is progress, and in many parts of the sub-Saharan Africa, it's a priority and there is progress, but it's still quite a journey to go, and there is still much to be done.
That's very interesting. And I can say that for a fact too, in Nigeria, we're seeing quite a number of developments in that area as well. Now, Rwanda has been described as an example of a nation that has allowed women access the internet, equipping them with basic digital skills and inspiring them to pursue careers in the ICT sector. Now, what are the key learning points for other African nations? I mean, you've spoken about Tanzania. I've talked about Nigeria a little bit, but what are the learning points going forward for other African nations?
So I think Rwanda is quite a unicorn in the area of development and has been at the forefront of gender balance and women empowerment in many areas, including technology. So it starts with the country philosophy and the country plan for development. Rwanda decided women are equal participants for their development plan and reviving Rwanda post-genocide, and it has been part of their main development plan, Vision 2020. And we have seen quite a lot of policies being made to ensure that women are given priority in leadership, in politics, and also specific programs that have been tailor-made to ensure that women are facilitated with education. And also now in the past 5 years of the decade, we've seen even more being done in the area of technology. So I think Rwanda is creating quite a great asset and capital in the area of tapping into female talent in ICT. I went to undergrad in IT in India. And while I was there, I witnessed a number of cohorts from the Rwandan government, employees, and also students exchange programs into India to expose their technology students and also technology social or other government workers to learn, to exchange knowledge, and also to afford them with the skills. And it's just not many years later that we're seeing women are taking front stage in leadership in technology companies, in banks. I think even the ICT minister is a woman in Rwanda. The eGov CEO, the Irembo system for accessing the government services, is a woman. I've done my MBA in a university with a campus in Rwanda. I've witnessed these, knowing that it's not a space where you find facilitators for technology related subjects or organizations being male, but we're already seeing the progress in Rwanda. And this was a deliberate effort that is starting to already bear fruit.
That's very interesting. I mean, you touched on something key, which I think that every country needs to start planning and thinking in that line, which is development plan, and incorporating the fact that women are also part of this plan and putting them along. United Nations studies show that women in the tech industry constitute only 28% of the professionals in the sector worldwide, and just 30% in the sub-Saharan Africa. Now, how can these statistics change in Africa, especially in the next 5 years? Now, looking forward into the next 5 years, what's our plan?
So the next 5 years, we're already living part of it. And there is not much that is going to change in the next 5 years, in my observation, because to get what we want to see in the next 5 years, we need to really be in active engagement and heavy engagement right now. So with quite still minimal programs and non-consistent projects to intervene and ensure that there is more access from the education level to the university levels, from the lower education to the university levels. For me, I don't think 5 years is quite a lot to see a big change. But what we can see right now, there is quite a lot of projects that are focusing on small segments of the markets in Africa. They're small pilots just to do research studies, and that's it. So I think to scale up those projects would be key, as some pilots have been done once or twice, and some of them have been done either by the non-governmental sectors or government programs. So private-public partnerships would be great, and also partnerships beyond the sub-Saharan Africa to ensure that there is scale and consistency in from the lower primary levels to the higher secondary levels and university. And also even post-university, there is digital skills and digital literacy that could still benefit graduates who even did not do science projects or science background to engage and learn technology, and actually can now have the necessary skills to be useful in technology work stream. So I think scaling up is key for the projects that have been piloted and have been proven to work in some parts of Africa, like Rwanda, for example.
As much as you mentioned, you've touched on scaling up, partnerships and collaborations is also very much paramount in this time. What is the role of mentorship in ushering the next generation of women in technology leaders across the region?
This is big, and the kind of non-consistent results we're seeing is a key evidence showing that there isn't quite been enough mentorships for women, for young girls to pursue the field of science, technology, engineering related subjects. For example, I was just a regular science student, and I grew up in a farm, and even though my father was an engineer, a civil engineer, and I was encouraged to see his passion in doing big projects, large projects. So I was just excited about the big impact he was able to create, solving problems, creating things out of nothing. I wanted to become an engineer, but I wasn't sure it was civil engineering. So it was my dad who pointed me into technology, knowing that technology is the future, and I already had the foundation. It wasn't until my university first year when I started learning programming languages. So this could be a bit late, and not quite many could still catch up maybe at university and still build interest to pursue technology to proficiency. This is leaving quite many women behind, and even the few women who are in the space, they're still not as well celebrated, or they are not brought to the limelight, and therefore many times they are forgotten, they are mixed up behind the over 80% or 90% male workforce or leaders in the space. So we need to really first bring an encouragement, support, celebrate the women leaders in the space, and at the same time, it will put on a direction. It will expose, it will link the young generation, young girls, to aspire to become something. I, for example, was very much also inspired by Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook. And I read her book, Lean In, and I said, I must lean in. This is a woman, she's in a big tech company, even though still facing challenges, but she's making a great impact. So imagine quite many more of those stories that could be brought up, and then creating spaces for mentorships via professional forums, professional networks that women can actually look up to and believe it's actually possible. So I think our mentorship is not quite available right now. It's an area that needs to become more consistent, created a space for linking up, for mentorships within the countries, cross countries, etc.
I hope we start seeing improvements in that space as well. I mean, very, very soon, we start seeing people take up mentorship and also celebrate people in that space, because it's very important to be celebrated and be seen. Not only do we want to start seeing people as hidden figures, but also we want them to be celebrated and seen. Now, let's take the last question in 1 minute, please. In terms of improving girls in STEM in colleges in Africa, how can this be encouraged through partnerships in the region? I mean, STEM is a very interesting topic or interesting conversation going on around now, which of course women are still being seen as hidden figures in that light. But how do we start seeing changes in that space, especially for young girls coming up?
Well, that's very true. Like I actually said about it earlier, there isn't quite enough amplification and scale is quite low. Many of these projects or other initiatives that have been into existence, and they have not been around for more than 5 years. Many of them are just very recent, and to see the impact will take quite a while, with programs able to just facilitate 50 students per cohort or 100 students. I think that's one of the largest. Maybe in Rwanda, I've seen 70. I've seen what we call program that they're doing with the government of Rwanda and GI state government of Germany. But the point is, with the current pace, we will not get very far, and it will be just another ideology that came and went. It will be like, this is not the time to talk about women in tech anymore. We already spoke about it for the past 10 years. If we achieved, that's it. If we did not achieve, that's it. Women can never be fit for technology. So I think it has to really become at the core to empower partnerships between governments and private sectors and implementation partners who can help coin these initiatives at different levels and can have continuity. So if students are first excited or introduced to technology in primary school, and they disappear from it until somehow randomly they meet it in the university, they're in this dilemma wondering, are they even good enough to take it up? So consistency is key and scaling is key. And creating policy that will incentivize partners, industry players to invest more for scaling these initiatives is going to be sustainable. I think, example for a country I work for, I'm in Tanzania, there is ports and ports of hubs, tech hubs, and some funded programs by either USAID, startups that are social enterprises trying to teach girls to code. But again, the scale is not quite impactful, and we're leaving quite many other women behind. So it can never be a social or rather a national capital as we want to tap into technology as the key development factor for the economy. So quick measures should be taken to ensure that there is a policy that supports these partnerships, incentivize them. And just recently I've seen there is an incentive to fund the agriculture sector. So interests have been lowered for the banks to actually encourage agribusiness to take off. So there is quite a lot of talk around the market on how to go and tap into this opportunity, seeing that bank loans coming from 18 or 20% to 10% overnight. And we will see quite a lot that is going to come up out of this opportunity in the next few years. So similar kind of focus should be given for the ICT sector.
Thank you very much. I mean, that was such a lengthy answer to that question. And the key takeaways from this conversation for me would be for countries, especially African countries, to start looking into their development plan and also leverage on partnerships and collaborations, because a country might probably not be able to do it by themselves. But with partnerships, collaborations, coming up with policies that allow for these things will definitely improve. And by that, we can now start seeing scaling up happening. Thank you very much, Gloria, for joining us today. It was great speaking with you. Looking forward to coming to Tanzania. I hope you'll be very much willing to accommodate me.
Very much. Thank you so much. Glad to connect with you from West Africa. Yeah. This is East. I know we're learning quite a lot from the progress done in the West Africa. The Eastern Africa is still catching up, but with the world being now as a village, you know, something could start in Nigeria today and catch up in Tanzania the next day. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And that will be all for today's edition of the Women Series. If you've got questions or comments, kindly send them to ayomide.oguntoye at proshare.ng.com/webtv. Follow our social media platforms showing on the screen. And until next time, thank you for watching.